Our group found that it was difficult to plan multiple activities in Singapore due to the large number of attractions Singapore offers. It is quite time consuming to research and plan the best order in which to visit multiple attractions that minimizes travelling time. Due to an absence of such an app in the market, we decided to embark on building ExploreLah to resolve this problem. ExploreLah will be especially useful to tourists who are new to Singapore by creating a curated itinerary that plans the most efficient route to visit the maximum number of attractions whilst minimizing their travelling time. To bring ExploreLah to life, we utilize three main languages and frameworks, those being HTML, Vue 3, CSS, and Bootstrap. The majority of our project was built using Vue.js. We used Vue packages such as Lottie files, Typeahead, PDF Make, and Date Picker, and animation libraries such as Vue Use Motion. We also use CSS to implement some animations such as a typewriter effect and parallax scrolling. We would like to highlight some of the beyond the lab things that we did. Firstly, we made full use of GitHub's versioning capabilities for collaboration. Beyond using basic Bootstrap, we extended it using SCSS while maintaining BEM naming conventions. We implemented certain animation libraries like Lottie files and Vue Use Motion. This allowed us to do scroll animations and included lightweight animations such as SVG. We used the library to allow the user to download the itinerary as a PDF as well. We made the extra effort to incorporate animations and feedback for our user on views and actions that take extra time to complete. The website is also very responsive. For our backend, we used Firebase to allow us to have authentication, CRUD, also known as create, read, update, and delete functionality. We implemented listeners to listen to snapshot updates. We use Pinia inside Vue for global state management across our application, and made an effort to save to local storage where appropriate, to allow for persistence across views and refresh. We made use of Google Maps API, Open Weather API, and even built and deployed our own Flask application onto Google's App Engine to help generate the itinerary. The following is a summary of ExploreLah's unique features that set us apart from other web apps. We will explain more about the elements during the walkthrough of our web app. We will now play our walkthrough video. This is our homepage, where users will land on first. You can choose to start planning straight away by clicking on our first Start Planning button, or choose to continue exploring our homepage. Using Lottie files, we added a moving car that drives towards our Start Planning button. There is also an interactive Malayan, ExploreLah's logo, that will react when hovered over. As you scroll down, you will see icons, animations, and custom GIFs that explain the process of using ExploreLah, followed by reviews. Sticking to the theme, we added a dynamic Malayan to highlight our reviews. Additionally, using CSS, we created a typewriter effect with another Plan Now button so users need not scroll back to the top to begin planning. Before continuing, we can log into our account by clicking on Login at the right side of the navigation bar. This will allow us to save our itineraries in the future, which is a feature we will touch on later. Now we can begin planning by pressing Plan Now on the navigation bar. Using the Typeahead drop-down menu with automatically suggested locations, choose your starting location. Input the length of your trip by choosing 2 dates from the calendar menu. Indicate your preferred activities by adjusting the sliders for each category. Lastly, choose your transportation method. The itinerary is then generated, taking into account the previous inputs. Similar to the traveling salesman problem, the attractions are modeled as nodes, with weights modeled by a combination of the user's preferences and distance from the previous location. This helps us generate an itinerary in an order that minimizes the distance between different attractions while maximizing the score. In the process of generating the itinerary, the day and time is also taken into account and checked against the opening hours of the attraction listed and retrieved using Google Places Detail API. For attractions without a listed opening hours, it is assumed to be from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. The method of transport is considered in terms of the estimated traveling time between two attractions. The time is then rounded up in blocks of 15 minutes. This allows us to generate an itinerary that suits each user's unique preferences and starting location. We also use the skeleton loading effect while the users wait for the results to load. For each day of your stay, ExploreLah shows you various attractions obtained from Google Places that match your preferred activities and the traveling time between them. We also display a map generated using Google Map API, with labeled pins to show where each attraction is with regards to one another. Additionally, we provided a dynamically updated weather forecast with responsive weather icons for the selected location using the Open Weather API. After browsing through the planned activities, we can also see a variety of food recommendations. From here, since we have already logged in, we can save this itinerary so we can access it in the future. If users are not logged in, the Save Itinerary button will be replaced by a Download button, so they will be able to directly download the itinerary as a PDF instead. We can access our saved trips under My Trips on the navigation bar. The background image on this page uses parallax scrolling to further engage users as they scroll. Here we can choose to download our upcoming, current, or past trips as PDFs for offline access. This is an example of what the PDF will look like. We achieved this using PDF Make, one of the numerous View 3 packages that we installed. You can also delete trips that are no longer needed by clicking on the bin icon. Moving on to our Discover page. This page features cards made in CSS that have a zoom on hover effect, as well as a Lottie file animation as seen by the hearts and thumbs ups. We also use local storage to implement a trip counter that automatically updates, similar to the counter on our My Trips page. Further down, we have linked external guides on what to do in Singapore. Next, our About Us page. This page gives a brief overview of ExploreLah and its mission and vision. We added animations from Lottie files to this page to make it more visually appealing. However, regardless of all these features, we understand the need for web pages to be fully responsive and usable. Now, we will show you how our web page adapts to smaller screens. On screens of width less than 992 pixels, we changed the navigation bar to feature a hamburger menu instead. We have also paid attention and considered the different breakpoints of different elements on all of the views. Through testing each view individually, we came up and implemented breakpoints and sizes that would be appropriate for each view. Elements are also resized or removed to make the page more scrollable on smaller screens.